Oh, come on, get with it. You're running late here. Okay. Oh, gee, I forgot this over here. Come on. Oh, jeez. Okay, we got that up. Come on, tablet, boot it up. Pardon me, I'm running behind. I wasn't paying attention. Got to get the tablet booted up. Here we go. Okay, tablet's booted up. Kathy's here, Ron's here, Linda's here. Okay. Broadcasting live from WDWL TV, Studio One. Corporate offices located on Grumpy Vulture Boulevard, and Grumpy Studios are located on Grumpy Old Man Road. And for all of you first timers, I am the Grumpy Old Man. All right, take your bow. Jesus Christ. There. Okay, now it's done. Look at the camera. So, how is everybody this wonderful end of summer in Cleveland Labor Day? Although it was amazing, it did not rain the whole weekend. It always rains on Labor Day in Cleveland. And today they actually had really nice clear skies for the last day of the air show, which I saw the Thunderbirds taking off from Hopkins Airport, because that's where they park overnight. And as I was coming out of my favorite Indian store, they flew over. As a matter of fact, there were 5, and then number 6 was like, wait for me! It rained like cats and dogs. Oh. Well, I guess you got Cleveland's Labor Day rain. Because I don't know too many Labor Days in Cleveland it didn't rain. Which sucks for the air show. It really does. But we had Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Nice clear. So they got to put on the air show, and the Thunderbirds got to do all their routines with a very nice day because there were hardly any clouds. I didn't get to see much. I mean, I saw them flying out towards Burke Lakefront when they took off from Hopkins, and then they kind of made a turn, I suppose, to go out over the lake and then come back and land. I would like to be at the airport tomorrow to see. I don't know if they do the same takeoff style like that year I saw the Thunderbirds or the Blue Angels leave. Now, that was a sight. That was a sight to see when those six jets rolled down the runway and then all six straight up. Hang on, let me check something here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I think I turned it down too low. Only the Blues do that? Oh, Linda, I'll tell you what. I wish I would have had a camera. Because that was, first of all, something that will stay with me the rest of my life. I have never seen, I think when I was telling my buddy it a tactical takeoff, but that was before they changed the limousine parking lot was back at the end of the runway. Well, they moved the limousine parking lot away from that area, I guess because it was too close. But to watch them line up and start their roll, and all of a sudden to see all six, whoa! And I mean, they went up, and then they slowly got into formation. It was absolutely amazing. First of all, to see them goddamn jets go straight up with the afterburners cranking. But they were, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They just went straight up, and then they parted, and they got into formation. It was unbelievable, and something I will definitely remember for forever and ever and ever. Well, I gotta show you something here. Remember I told you I had these rather large hanging lamps? Well, every one of them is the old milk glass and leaded glass frame. I mean, these things are big. They're not those, back in the day, the swag lamp, which was a little glass globe, These are big. As a matter of fact, the one that's hanging in the corner over my desk is like a powder blue milk glass. And it's got attaching framework that is like a leaded glass. I mean, these, and they weigh a ton. Well, I have dimmers on each one. And instead of a little, I hate those glass globes that attach up inside. You got the big lamp, and then you got most of the time it's a white globe. I got rid of the white globes. And I bought dimmable LED bulbs. like this that go in that lamp, and they're dimmable, and they look so cool inside those big old swag lamps. But look at the size of that bulb. They're 65-watt LED, and they're dimmable. Look at the filament inside those things. They're goofy. And like I say, they won't like that. These beat the hell out of that glass globe with a regular light bulb. Everybody's like, where did you get them from? I happened to find them online. As a matter of fact, the place that had them, they only had 6 left. So I bought all 6. And each one of my hanging lamps has one of these beautiful bulbs in it. You know, it kind of beats, you can tell in comparison. This is the one that come out, you know, my spare for my bedroom lamp. Look at the size of them bulbs. But the nice thing about these, they're dimmable. So what I do, like I've got one in the kitchen, and I crank it down to where this is just an orange glow. And it looks so cool at night for a nightlight. And the neat thing about them is you can hang them outside. They're actually approved to hang out. You know, like you have party lights, and you would have bulbs this size in the party lights hanging over your picnic table or whatever. Imagine having a bunch of them hanging from your party lights. And they were only like, I think I paid 14 or 15 bucks a piece for the bulbs. And because the homeless depot wanted like 40. So the guy had 6 of those left. So I bought all 6. And I put one in each of my hanging lamps. Matter of fact, I wish you'd have had a few more. It would have been nice to have a spare, just in case. Well, I told you, Linda, well, it wasn't, I don't think it was one of the Blue Angels. I think it was an F-16 fighter pilot that wanted to see if he could get lower than the Blue Angels flying over the pier. And somebody on the beach got a video. And of course, he probably caught hell when he got back to the base. These are cheap to run. They're LED. Believe it or not, these big ass bulbs are 65 watt. The same as this one. So it don't cost any more for this big bulb than it does for this one. And LEDs are cheap to run. And they don't get hot. That's the nice thing about them. But I thought it would be kind of neat to have one of them strings of lights across the backyard and have 6 or 8 or 10 of them. Although, be my luck, people be banging their heads into them, breaking them. Yeah, right, Ron. I got an idea. Yeah, let's break it. You ought to see the boxes they come in. Talk about well cushioned. This stupid lighter. So, any cookouts or picnics today? Not here. I had a friend, years ago, that lived not that far from the Norfolk. What is it? The naval base down there, and he has got some unbelievable photos and movies of all types of military, you name it, from a small single-seater fighter jet to the what do they call it, the Strato Fortress. It's amazing when they load that sucker, like with a fleet of army tanks, that thing can get off the ground. Those engines got to have some real thrust in them. Almost like when the FedEx I don't know if it's an Airbus. I can't tell Boeing from Airbus. But I mean, the thing looks like a Strato Fortress flying over. And when it comes into the airport to land, as it comes over the house, it looks like it's hardly moving. You know, it's like yeah, I went up to Mark's and got my bulk package of all beef natural casing hot dogs. Then I had to get some cat treats. and I got my Bertram's Cleveland Stadium mustard, and I had to get a quart of half and half. I got the hot dogs. I get over to the bread section. There is not one fucking pack of hot dog buns. The shelves were empty. I'm looking through every shelf, and there's no freaking hot dog buns. Hamburger buns up the ass, no hot dog buns. Not even the expensive, like we have I'm trying to think of the name of the fancy ones. They're from Orlando Bakery. And then Schwabel's and Tip Top, or not Tip Top. What the hell's the one with the white package with the balloons all over it? I remember it from my childhood. I can't think of the name. So I figure, all right, I'm going to have to go to the Gigantic Eaglet to get hot dog buns. So I get up to the cash register and I put all the stuff on, and Olivia is working. And as she's scanning my shit, I said, would you believe there is not one package of hot dog buns in this store? Not even expensive Wonder Buns. And she goes, how many packs you want? I said, what? She reaches under the counter and she had 2 packs of hot dog buns. She goes, there was a woman decided she didn't want these. I said, ring them up. I'll take them both. Yeah, of all places. She had them under her counter to take back and put in the bread section. So I got the last 2 pack of hot dog buns in the store. And I didn't have to make a trip to Gigantic Eaglet. You would think, being Labor Day weekend, that they would have a shitload of buns. Oh, like I say, they had a shitload of hamburger buns. I was pissed off. I go over to the bread section and the whole shelf empty. And I'm looking and I'm digging around, and no hot dog buns in the whole bread section. Until I got to the cash register. And Olivia goes, you want these? I was like, yeah. Because it works out perfect. Because in the bulk pack is 16 hot dogs. So I got the 2 8-packs. I'm good to go. So tonight I will boil them and then put them under the broiler to get that nice toasty effect. Bun them. Chopped onion. Some chopped dill pickle. Cheese. And Cleveland Stadium mustard. Can't wait. Yeah, I have some American cheese left. So basically what I'm going to do is I'll line the bun with the American cheese, then put the nice broiled hot dog in, chopped onion, some chopped pickle, stadium mustard, and a meal in a bun. Yeah, Linda, you know why that is? Because they closed all of the day-old bread stores. Remember when they would have the day-old bread stores? It wasn't like they were losing merchandise. They would come in and whatever didn't sell, they would take back to the day-old bread store, and everybody would go in there and buy it because it was like 50% off. And then they closed them all. We used to have a big one, Nichols. Well, we had Millbrook too. We had Millbrook and Nichols. Because you'd get some bargains in there. I think you could get like 5 loaves of bread for $1. So they didn't lose any money, but now, yeah, they throw them away. How stupid is that? Close the day-old store so that you can throw shit in the dumpster. I don't know who made the stupid decision to close the day-old stores. Because by closing every day, there would hardly be anything left in that store. So they sold everything. But no. If Millbrook went out of business completely. Matter of fact, the Millbrook Bakery, the Breakery, is a indoor storage facility now. Because Millbrook was over on 117th. And Laub's Baking was down around 30, 40 something in Lorraine. They closed up. Millbrook closed up. I'm trying to think if Nichols had a day-old store. But there was a day-old. It was over by the silk mills, the old silk mills in Cleveland, off West Boulevard. There was a big day-old bread store over there. And then they closed it. Matter of fact, they even closed all the Dolly Madison stores that we had. Used to get all kinds of goodies at the Dolly Madison store. Closed it up. Because the Millbrook one, I don't think they opened until like 11 o'clock. Because that gave the drivers time to return and get the merchandise over to the day old store. But at 11 o'clock, the parking lot would be full of people waiting to get in. They didn't lose a dime. And we also had Tip Top Bakery down on Chester. Because my uncle was a truck driver for them. He would drive from Cleveland to Columbus every day. Because Tip Top didn't have a bakery in Columbus. So he would take I think the trailers were only 40 foot at the time. That was before the 53 footers. But he every day would he'd leave it. I can't remember what, he drove all night so that he would get there in the morning. Yeah, we had Laub's, we had Millbrook, we had Tip Top. Trying to think of the other bakeries we had, that bread bakeries that went out. Sad how Cleveland lost so much industry in bakeries alone. And you know, that was back in the 50s and 60s, so it wasn't like they had a bad economy. But I remember that Millbrook bread store. People would be waiting in the parking lot for it to open at 11 o'clock. And you could go in and, because I remember my mother, oh, I hated it. She would buy 5 loaves of bread and put 4 in the freezer. Oh, I hate thawed out frozen bread. Blah. I know there were more bakeries. I can't. Like I said, there was Laub's, there was Millbrook, Tip Top. I'm not sure about Nichols. Oh, Schwabel's, not Nichols, Schwabel's. Because Schwabel's moved their operation out to Strongsville now. The bakery and their offices are out there now. Oh, we had one. Oh yeah, we had Wonder. What am I talking about? We had Wonder Bread too. I can't remember where the Wonder Bread day old store was though. But man, is any Wonder product is outrageous. I was looking at the prices on the shelf. If you were to get a pack of Wonder Buns, they were like $4.29 for a pack of buns. Because the Nichols buns that I got were on, well, that explains part of it. They were on sale. 4 packs for $3. So I could see, but they had a shitload of hamburger buns. Although when I was looking, it was amazing. All of the cheapy, crappy hot dogs, the shelves were empty. The better, higher class hot dogs, there were a shitload. I'm trying to think of the. Oh God, there's a brand of crappy hot dogs, pork, chicken, aardvark, you name it. They're like 99 cents for a pack of 8 hot dogs. You can tell how good those are. I can't remember the name of them. Bar S. That's it. Bar S. Bar S hot dogs. 99 cents for an 8 pack. Of course, they probably got more filler in them than anything. Those were gone. There was not one pack of Bar S hot dogs in the place. But like Nathan's thing was full. Of course, Nathan's hot dogs, if you want to buy a pack, you have to go see the finance man. So tomorrow is Master Cylinder Day. And by the end of the day, I should have perfect brakes on the truck again. And I guess before the weather gets shitty, I better start stripping the Toyota. It's a goner. Much as I hate to see it, oh man, those tires. I have to keep that thing at least until the 1st of November so I can renew the license plates. and then have them for the Passat. Because I'm not losing that plate. That plate's been in the family, God, almost 100 years. My grandfather, I lost that plate, he'd send lightning bolts down at me. This stupid lighter. Ronson. I hate Ronson lighters. The only reason I'm using it is I got it for free. I got it as a gift. You don't need a spotlight anymore. The hell with you. So no family cookouts today? Oh, that's right. Kathy said it rained like cats and dogs. Okay. No cookout at your house today, Linda? I don't have to ask Ron. With triple digit temperatures, all he's got to do is put a hot dog on a stick and hold it out in the sun. There was something haywire going on with my computer over here. Okay. It's doing all right. You know what, Kathy? It's just another day. That's the way I look at it. Just another day. For the working people, okay, you got a long weekend. I don't know if any of my cousins do any cookouts anymore. We used to have some big holiday cookouts. If it wasn't at my uncle's farm, it was out at my cousin's place out in Seville, Ohio. But since he passed away, I don't think, well, let's see. No, neither of the other, because one doesn't even live in the state, and the other one, him and his wife are probably down in Florida somewhere laying on a beach. And my sister's probably relaxing since she's been cranking all that overtime at Ford. And my other sister, I wouldn't go there for a cookout if they called me. Especially now that my brother-in-law thinks he's a wine connoisseur. he bought the property behind him several years ago, and he planted a shitload of grapes. And he makes his own wine. I'm not a wine drinker anyway. Yeah, I can't remember. 4 acres, 5 acres, something like that. He ordered some expensive frickin' grapes from like Napa Valley or some shit. They're a member of this group, I'll say. There's a whole bunch of them that make their own wine. And then they all get together once a year and they have a big dinner and a wine tasting and Mr. Big Bucks. I can't remember how many gallons he makes. They all do, limited edition bottling. I don't know, maybe they bottle 50 bottles or something with their own label. Mr. Big Buck's Vineyard. Then they take their wine to a wine tasting and everybody judges it. So stupid if you ask me. So how's your daughter doing, Kathy? She all over her illness now? Is she tired of drinking gallons of chicken soup? I think Mary Ann's got a new stray. I saw a tuxedo sitting on her front porch this morning. Like, take me in, take me in. Still not 100%, huh? No, that sucks. On the mend. Well, that's good. Is that the paramedic? I was going to say, if it's the paramedic, boy, they got to be missing her, being short-staffed. I don't know what was going on early this morning. Jesus Christ. I heard siren after siren after siren after siren. Although, see, what they do in Cleveland, and I'm sure they do it across the United States, if EMS is tied up, they will send the fire department in as first responders. Oh, okay. That's the other one. And I think what was going on is the fire trucks were coming from one direction and EMS finally broke loose and was coming from the. All I heard was sirens and sirens and sirens. I don't know where they went. Although I remember when the woman down the street, she's got that first alert button. When she hit that button, the fire department, EMS, and the police department all responded to her house. Because I remember there was a shitload of traffic by her house. 2 fire trucks, EMS supervisor, couple of police cars. I was like, man, when you push that button, you get some attention. I can't remember what was wrong with her. It wasn't too serious. But boy, did she get a response. Like I say, 2 fire trucks, EMS, an EMS supervisor because he drives, what the hell did he have, a Ford Explorer or a Expedition, and then 2 police cars. Matter of fact, I think it embarrassed her with all that attention she got. But she got a response. I don't know what that thing costs a month, but at that time it was well worth it. I hope you're talking a dog and not a cat. Although I had a friend that used to, every summer, take her cat and they would give it a haircut. And it looked, when she got it back, it looked like a lion. It was really neat. They had a little puffball at the end of the tail, and then it looked like it had a mane, and the rest of it was all shaved. Because it was a tabby, a long-haired tabby, and it was cool when she got it back. It looked like a frickin' lion because they blew dry it and they combed it all out. I know Boots wouldn't sit for that shit. If I come near him with a brush, he's like a mountain lion. Oh, okay. I take it he didn't like the bath or the buzz cut or both. Although he had to look cool with the buzz cut. Once it was all over and done with, I bet you he was a little different person. Give him a mirror. Look! Look how neat you look. You have a barber kit, I take it, huh? I've got one. When I used to cut my own hair. I'm trying to think what wall. WAHL, wall. A complete barber kit. It's sitting in the cupboard collecting dust because I don't need to use it anymore. But for the longest time, I used to do my own. What I did in the bathroom is I mounted a mirror on the back wall. And that way I could stand in front of the mirror and look at the mirror and do the back of my head. But don't need to do that no more. Just get out my old electric shaver. Matter of fact, I got to do it tomorrow. Getting a little long. I hope my damn brake line is here tomorrow. Otherwise, I'll have to go up the goddamn awful zone and I'm hoping. I've been soaking the shit out of those goddamn fittings. I hope them brake lines loosen up so that I can take everything apart without having to cut and use compression fittings. Oh, geez. Almost as bad as a mountain lion, huh? He probably doesn't completely understand what's going on, you know. Poor kid. He sees Grandma walk in the house. He's like, get away from me. I'm not cutting your hair. Get away from me anyway. You know, it's interesting how that gene appears because the girl that used to live across the street from me, neither on her side or her husband's side, there's not even a hint of autism in the family because they did a family tree research. Both of her sons are autistic. And the interesting thing is, her and her husband are in the Mensa Society. They're both brains. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have to email her. I haven't heard from her in a while. She used to stay in touch. Oh, okay, Kathy, I understand now. Makes sense. How long does it take him to calm down once you're all done? God, I'm just thinking. I haven't heard from her in probably almost a year. She probably thinks I fell off the face of the earth. Matter of fact, yeah, I got to email her because when she was living across the street from me, she had a dark green Volkswagen Passat with a manual. Because I always told her, oh man, you're a girl with an educated left foot. I'm going to have to email her and tell her, guess what I got? A green Volkswagen Passat manual. Yeah, when she learned to drive, she learned on a manual, and that's all she ever had, except when she had the kids. And she bought a minivan. It's like when I talked to Marianne, I asked her, I said, do you miss driving a manual? And she's like, oh, God, yes. Because her Hyundai is an automatic. I told her, I said, well, that's why I keep any vehicle I get has got to be a manual. I could not drive an automatic. Oh, no. Oh, no. Too boring. I like to be engaged, rolling them gears. Although I'll tell you what, I'm going to miss that four-wheel drive in that RAV4. Oh, God, I hate to get rid of that thing. Oh, man. Unfortunately, it's going to cost more than it's worth to fix it. Almost enough making me cry. Damn it, I got something in my eye. I think I hit a vulture in my eye. I didn't realize I had the wrong glasses on. So, God, it's hard to believe summer is gone. God. Seemed like summer was like a week. Although it was 75 today and sunny. Hopefully it's going to stay this way for a while. Although in Cleveland, we do end up with Indian summer. I'm not looking forward to the cold weather. Oh, God, no, no, no. Because, it seems like winter is longer than summer. Now, I know basically you're looking December, January, February, some of March. Then the weather starts to turn, but I just hate the thought of that white shit. Although, too goddamn old to move now. And I don't know where I go. No matter where you go, you're going to have weather problems. Tornadoes, hurricanes, triple-digit heat, wildfires, landslides. Although I'll tell you, when my aunt and uncle moved down to Clearwater, Florida, they said they really liked it down there. And I'll tell you what was amazing. When my uncle was getting ready to retire, they went down. They go down for a week or 2 weeks. I think they went down to Florida for 2 weeks. And they scoped out like Clearwater, Jacksonville, Miami, And how they decided on Clearwater, I don't know. Matter of fact, my uncle wanted to move to Miami, and my aunt was like, oh, no, nope, nope. I don't know what she didn't like about Miami. My uncle wanted to move down there because they have a lot of the sections in Miami are like throwback to the 50s. And he really liked that. And she was like, nope. We're not moving to Miami. Because when they come back, he showed me some neat pictures, especially like at night. Some of the strips down in Miami are just unbelievable at night. But she just didn't want any part of Miami. I don't know why. Matter of fact, I'm going to have to call my cousin. And see how my aunt's doing. because after my uncle passed, they sold their manufactured home, and then my aunt moved in with my cousin. I'll have to see how she's doing. God, there are a lot of people I gotta catch up with. God, I hate this lighter. Matter of fact, I forgot I was gonna email Nomad this morning. I would have thought after I mentioned him yesterday, he'd have popped in today. Because usually when I embarrass him, he pops in. Although maybe he ain't listening anymore. I don't know. I know he used to, every morning, listen to the previous night's show. Nomad, if you're listening, let us know you're still alive. Pop in and say hello. Same thing with Mears. Mears, if you're listening to this in the morning, pop in and say hello so we know you're still alive. I probably won't hear from Nomad until time change. Although, I know he was quite busy for quite a while. God, one of the girls I used to work with at Lakewood Hospital, her and a couple of her female acquaintances would go to Key West every summer for vacation. And they loved it down there. Oh, you caught up with Mears? How's he doing? Yeah, every summer they would go down for 3 weeks. I don't know where in Key West, but they loved it. Matter of fact, she said she would like to retire down there. I guess it's, you know, either you like it or you hate it, you know. Well, you tell him to pop in sometime and say hello. God, you would think a bar down in Key West would be a moneymaker. Although it depends on the location and everything. You know, that's like my friend's parents. They always wanted to go to Vegas. They went to Vegas. I think they were there for a week. They came home from Vegas, put their house up for sale, and packed up, and they bought a condo in Vegas and moved out there. I was like, how can you get the feel of a place in a week? That's what they did. My buddy couldn't believe it. He was like, "What are you guys doing?" And his mother said, "We're selling the house and we're moving to Vegas." They're still there. I hope. God, they'd be in their early 90s by now. I'll have to call him. But yeah, they were out there for a week. Sold the house, bought a condo in Vegas, and packed up and left. Oh, yeah. You know, you get vacationers that go down, they make an ass out of themselves. Yeah, I could see where you wouldn't want to put up with that shit. Because most of the drunks are from Cleveland, you know. Let's go down to Key West and see if we can drink the bar dry. And there's nothing worse than arrogant drunks. Get a little alcohol in them and right away they got beer muscles, you know. Man, 2 weeks. Must have been a bad 2 weeks at the bar. And it was probably, most of it was probably college kids. Making an ass out of themselves, you know. Because they all go, you know, down on spring break and see if they can drink every alcoholic establishment dry. I know I watch enough YouTube videos with the arrests. And half of them that get arrested have fake IDs on top of it. Matter of fact, I watched a video last week down on Daytona Beach. And there were these 4 teens, 2 guys, 2 girls, drinking on the beach. And when the police came up and checked their IDs, the one girl was only 17. Had a fake ID. They all left in bracelets. And the 17-year-old was like, "Oh, I can't call my parents, they'll kill me." Well, you don't want to get caught. Don't break the law. It was like one I watched this morning. And, you know, kids are on social media. So they should realize that the last person you ever want to mess with is a Florida highway patrolman. Well, this kid was in a rental car. I think he was 22. Speeding down the freeway. He gets pulled over. And as the trooper goes back to run his license, he takes off. And he's doing 100, 115, 120. Well, Florida state troopers are about the best pit specialists in the country. Except for Arkansas. And they gave him the old pit maneuver, and the car hit the barrier, 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 destroyed the rental car, and got his ass arrested. And he had the nerve to tell the trooper, I thought I could outrun you. And what's neat about Florida, they've got cameras front, rear, and on both sides. So as the trooper finished the pit maneuver and the guy started bouncing back and forth, the side cameras caught him. Bing, bing, like a pinball. Bing, 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 bing. Yeah, he tells her, I thought I could outrun you. Not. I mean, I've watched videos of those troopers doing 150 miles an hour, one hand on the steering wheel, and then the other hand on the microphone. And they're driving like they're doing 50, you know. Gee, me, I'd have a death grip on that wheel. Of course, they train constantly. But yeah, when he took off, I was like, if you don't pull over, buddy, you ain't going to like the end result. I can imagine him calling Enterprise. Your car's in the tow yard. It doesn't have a straight corner on it. And what I like about watching the Arkansas State Troopers, they don't care what speed you're doing. They'll pit you anyway. I've seen a couple 150-mile-an-hour pit maneuvers. Not pretty when they get done. You know what's amazing? This is the old office chair. This office chair's got to be 40 years old. And it's surprising how comfy it is. Almost as comfy as my gaming chair. Boy, I love that chair. Oh, man. Oh, Ron, don't Think bad thoughts. Jeez. You're going to get yourself all worked up. Your cardiologist might not say anything. He might say, hey, you're doing all right. Keep doing what you're doing. Because when you go in and they take your vitals, your blood pressure is going to be off the scale. There, Ron, like Linda says, you're better now than you were a year ago. He might not even do anything. He might just tell you, hey, you're looking good, just keep doing what you're doing. You know, add a little salt to your diet. Always works for me. Although I gotta say, I really haven't had any side effects from the cholesterol medication. I lucked out. I was thinking for sure. I don't like taking an extra pill in the morning, but yeah, if it works, it works. I didn't think my cholesterol was that bad, but my doctor's like, take these pills. And they weren't that expensive either, so. Oh, God, Ron, I'm going to have heart failure. You actually remember to take your 2 o'clock pill at 2 o'clock? Holy shit, mark that one on the calendar. I'll have to make a note. Ron took pill on time today. It'll be easy enough for me to remember you took it on Labor Day. Your system will be all out of whack. Used to taking the 2 o'clock pill at 5 o'clock in the evening. Or 4 o'clock, or whatever time it is. Triple digits again today. What is it, triple digits? What, 90 days in a row now? I'm going to have to email my friend in Scottsdale. See if that sandstorm affected her. And the rain afterwards. At least all the sand got washed away. Oh my God, 99. No triple digits? Oh, man. It broke the record. The triple digit record is no longer. I wonder, had it not rained, how the hell do they clean up all that sand? There's going to be sand everywhere, on the roads, in the parking lots. When they come through with a big street sweeper. That's got to be a mess. Not to mention anybody that was driving in it. They have to get their air filters changed and their cabin filters changed and oil changed. After they sweep it up, where do they dump it? Back in the desert? Every kid in the neighborhood builds a sandbox. Dump it here. Yeah, that's if, even after the rain. There gotta be muck everywhere. And like I say, anybody that was driving in it gotta change all your filters. Change your oil, change your filter. Maybe even flush your transmission. That shit's nasty on cars. I know that. Like I say, I remember when good old Mount St. Helens blew up. Just about every emergency vehicle ended up getting scrapped because of that lava dust is so fine, it's like powder, it gets into everything. Yeah, I'm sure everybody has extra air filters and extra cabin filters, and now I can see them running the sweepers down the street. Do they have companies that come out and do parking lots? Like Walmart parking lot? Have a truck with a big blower on it. Create another fucking sandstorm. I showed the pictures to Mary Ann. She was like, holy Christ. I said, yep, that's what you got to look forward to living out in Arizona. Big old sandstorms. Wow, the battery on the tablet's actually holding. Holy cow. Evidently, it didn't charge right yesterday that I didn't have anything left. Couldn't even play no exit music. Oh, I've seen some of the shit after hurricanes. Oh my God. Yeah, I've seen the aftermath. Especially if somebody's, 60-foot cabin cruiser is sitting on the beach. Yeah, instead of snow removal, sand removal. That's it for the coffee. I watched an interesting, I don't know, call it a documentary last night. Where, oh God, where the hell was it? Somewhere out west. They just solved a 60-year-old cold case. And they did it using this, oh, what the hell's that DNA company? Orthram or something, it's the company's called. And they constructed a family tree. And they ended up exhuming, I don't know if it was a brother or a cousin or something, and they still were able to extract DNA. And here they were able to come up with the guy, the murderer. And it ended up, it was the 16-year-old kid that lived next door. And they were saying he was never a person of interest. And there was the DNA that was on the girl's dress was about the size of a quarter. And they were able to, after 60 years, and the guy was still alive. He was like 75 or 76 years old. And when they suspected it was him through this chart that Orthram had made up, they followed him for like 2 weeks. And at a traffic light, he threw a cigarette butt out the window. And the light changed and he took off. And the cop stopped, had a pair of tweezers, threw the cigarette butt in the plastic bag. And they found out after 60 years that he was the murderer. And they didn't suspect him because he went to a different he went to a Catholic high school. And the girl next door went to regular high school. And I guess he like had the perfect alibi, and he was never a person of interest. But it was amazing how this Orthram DNA lab was able to pinpoint it was him. Of course, he was shocked as hell. You're under arrest for murder. What? And he denied it down the line. Even when they showed the DNA evidence, he was like, nope, 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 not me. And he ended up getting convicted because he wouldn't take a plea deal. He was like, I'm innocent. Matter of fact, the police department, they said it was like the oldest case in the state. And the girl's brother was amazed, first of all, that they solved it. And then it was the kid next door. Because nobody ever suspected this kid. And they figure basically he came over and got a little amorous and she rebuffed him and he lost it and strangled her. But especially never being a person of interest. Because even the detectives that were working the cold case were like, are you sure? And Orthram said, yep, we're sure. It was really amazing. Because they had done a DNA test on her dress. And first of all, there was nobody in the database. And second of all, without him being a person of interest, they never swabbed him or anything. And he got away with that murder for 60 years. Married, family, grandkids, great-grandkids. But he denied it right up to the end, even when they sentenced him. He told the judge, he goes, well, I'm going to appeal because I didn't do this. Tell Fiona not to be doing that. It's too hot. Next, the cat'll be running out. But that's one thing from a kitten. Boots has never wanted to get out the door. I can leave the door open and he won't go near it. Because every now and then when I have a load of groceries, I'll prop the door open and he'll just sit there at the top of the steps and look out. Although I'll tell you, people that let their cats run loose, I could kick them in the ass. You know, cats aren't like dogs. You know, a dog will start out in the street and see a car coming and they'll stay. Goddamn cat, they're, not to mention, around here they get frickin' fleas. I just can't understand why people let their cats run loose. Maybe because I never believed in it. And boy, do we have a lot of strays running around this neighborhood. Well, not strays. Some of them have collars on. Matter of fact, the other day there was this gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous Siamese with a collar running around. Although if they get hungry, they just have to go next door. Marianne will feed them. Do you have a fenced-in yard, Ron, where you could let Fiona run around, or no? Like the compound Marianne has next door. Jeez. Big ass privacy fence and chicken wire over the top. And her little cat walk coming out of the window. Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting you're in a compartment. Do they have like a dog park somewhere? Usually around apartment buildings they have like a dog park, knowing that people have to let their dogs out. Well, keep it out there. I don't need no rain here, not for at least a day. I got to get that master cylinder in that truck tomorrow. Fingers crossed, I don't have problems with it. That's almost as goofy as a guy that lives a couple of streets over. He's a black guy. He's got to be 7 foot tall. And he's got a frickin' teacup chihuahua that you could put in your pocket, and he walks it. It's hilarious. Every time I see him walk down the street, I laugh my ass off. His shoes are bigger than the dog. Matter of fact, his dog could sleep in one of his shoes. He walks the thing down the street. He's easily got to be 7 foot. Tall, skinny guy. This little itty bitty dog. Well, shut the window. Let's hope it's not a blistering storm. You would get flooding again. I don't know why I keep looking at that. I keep looking over here at the chat, and it's right in front of me. I don't know why I keep doing that. Boob. They got some weird names for rainstorms out there. I watched another murder mystery last night. And they suspected this woman shot her husband. But she had a pretty good alibi. And they had brought her in with her attorney, and they asked her a shitload of questions. And they had DNA and all this. And then after 2 years, they finally proved she was the one that did it. But it took them 2 years to do it. And she thought she was off scot-free. they had they sent all the information to this outside forensics company. And this outside forensics company finally proved that she was the one. Although, they suspected her because before she called 911, she took a shower. And she disposed of the nightgown that she was wearing. Because in the end, she finally broke down and admitted it. And they says to her, "We searched the garbage. We searched your house. Where did you dispose of that nightgown?" And she went down in the basement. And how the police didn't notice, she lifted a ceiling tile because they had a suspended ceiling in the basement. And she ducked the nightgown up on top the suspended ceiling. And then she very carefully put the tile back. And then she waited a couple of weeks. And she retrieved the nightgown. And she took it to work. And she threw it in the company dumpster. And they weren't watching her, so they didn't see her dispose of it. But she finally admitted, "Yeah, I did it for the insurance money." But the smart thing was, after everything was all over and done with, and after the funeral, she didn't demand the insurance company to pay out right away. Matter of fact, she didn't even call. She just waited until they sent the check. And then she deposited the insurance money, but did not go crazy spending money like some of these people do. She laid low, but then after 2 years, she finally was like, "Yeah, I did it." Because they had said, "Well, the gun had been recently fired." And she said, "Well, yeah, and if you go out in the backyard, you'll see my husband was target shooting that day." And they went out and they looked, yeah. So she kind of almost had the perfect crime. But police don't give up. Which is obvious when they got this guy 60 years later. If that case isn't solved, you may think they gave up. They don't. Although I like watching the British, especially when they bring in the forensic team and they set up tents and everybody goes in moon suits. And the British really do. I'll tell you what, they're way ahead of us when it comes to forensic investigation. Oh, man. They have specialist units for everything. Although I like when they question somebody. No comment. No comment. No comment. No comment. No comment. Although, one thing I gotta find out, that's another thing I want to talk to Nomad. When they arrest somebody, you never hear of the person like getting out on bail. So, if you're a suspect, do they like hold you for a year and a half until your trial comes up, or you hear about the arrest, but you never hear about, well, he was out on bail. I know they have a real strange police and legal system over there. You never hear they say, oh, 50,000 pounds for bail. You never hear about them getting out on bail. You just hear about them in jail. Oh, this morning I watched the full documentary on Ocean Gate. Boy, was that interesting. Not to mention, boy, that Stockton Rush was an idiot. But the U.S. Navy pinpointed the exact time that thing imploded. And they didn't say anything for like a week. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, you never hear about them making bail and but they do have an interesting legal system over there. They really do. Well, peoples, I've got some hot dogs waiting for me. I think it's that time. We know where, right here, WDWL TV. Or here, WDWL TV. All right, take a bow. There. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Ron, stay out of the storm. And we will meet again tomorrow night. Yep, go feed the babies. Talk to you tomorrow.